Hey, 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 happy holidays. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, December 6th, 2022. This is live stream 860. Zoinks. Quite a lot of live streams. If it's your first time joining me, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And we take a look at a game. And tonight will be no different because we are going to be diving on in for a first look and page through of Lex Arcana, Mysteries of the Empire, Volume 1 from Acheron Games. And we will be taking a peek at this in just a bit. So I should point out, if you're not overly familiar with the show, I always tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So if you are hanging out watching live because you want to check out the volume from Lex Arcana, let me point out, probably be about 35 minutes before we jump on into that. So in the meantime, put your feet up, relax, take it easy, enjoy yourself. Now, if you happen to be watching this 30 minutes or more after the stream has ended, then you can actually utilize the timestamps, which are located in the show notes, to jump ahead and skip past the news. Although we've got some pretty cool news tonight. I always got some pretty cool news. But it also depends on the sort of device you happen to be watching this on, because those timestamps might actually be right there in the timeline of the video itself. So try to make it as convenient for you if you're watching after the stream has ended. Kind of jump around to what you might want to be checking out. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, maybe you want to take a closer look at something here, by all means, chime in. I'll do my best to respond. Should also point out that you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. So first out the gate tonight is the Motor City Madman. That's right. The Madman is with us, as is Kathy Evans, Coco B, Mr. Eddie T. Liquid Nebula has arrived. Dalwinius from York, 245 Trioxin. And I think that is everybody in chat right now. So howdy, everybody. Welcome aboard. So let's jump on into the news, because making its way into stores this month from Daily Magic Games is Dice Kingdoms of Valeria. Here's what I know. Dice Kingdoms of Valeria is a roll and write game designed by Levi Moat. On your turn, you'll roll 6 dice. 2 dice will activate the citizens for all players simultaneously, but the other 4 dice are just for you. Will you hire citizens to patronize your guilds and Fill up your treasury so you can gain scoring options? The yellow die. Will you slay monsters for glory and rewards? The red die. Or will you build roads to domains that give you citizens, gold, monsters, and dice manipulation powers? The green die. Then consider how much magic you have to make everything that much better with the blue die. There's also the winter expansion. Winter is not coming, it's here. Snow is on the ground, the streets are iced over, the canals are getting sluggish, and the barmaid at the Cask and Trotter is offering to warm up your cold brew. Things change in the winter. The Knights on the Wall have fewer goblins to repel, the guilds reorganize their membership lists, the monster kin hunker down in their dens for the long winter nights, and it sure ain't easy finding the trailheads to their lairs. Yes, sirree, it's like a whole different world out there. When you're ready for a new challenge playing Dice Kingdoms of Valeria, check out the winter expansion. This pack contains 2 winter-themed 50-sheet pads to use instead of the base game sheets. And there's a set of rules on the back of the cover sheet explaining the differences that you'll encounter. Dice Kingdoms of Valeria and the winter expansion is for 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, plays in around 30 to 45 minutes, and carries an MSRP of $30 when it arrives on December 28th. The winter expansion will arrive on the same day, carrying an MSRP of $15. I did a preview of this, you may recall, a while back. This was part of a Kickstarter that had, if I remember correctly, a trio of games, all pretty small footprint for the Valeria line from Daily Magic Games. And in ways, this is similar to it's not Shadow Kingdoms of Valeria, Card Kingdoms of Valeria, except you're actually doing a roll and write as opposed to bidding on cards and things like that. So a little bit of a similar vein to that as well. But this is arriving later on this month. Tomorrow, I will tell you about the 3rd Valeria game that is arriving in December. On the next news piece, currently up on the P500 pre-order list from GMT Games is Away Team, The Voyages of the Pandora. Here's what I know. Away Team, The Voyages of the Pandora is a game of exploring alien worlds in distant star systems. You command the Pandora, an interstellar survey ship, on its voyages of discovery. Each voyage sends Pandora to a different star system where you assemble away teams from the ship's crew and equipment to explore planets, moons, and other sites of interest with the following directives. Locate exo life forms and document their physiology and behavior. Collect exo DNA, vital to genetic science and human adaptation to life in the stars. Identify and survey environments suitable for human settlement and development. Search for intelligent life and alien cultures, and if found, establish contact with goodwill. Oh, and don't get killed. Away Team has 3 modes of play. The solitaire campaign game provides an epic, interconnected narrative experience for 1 player across 7 star systems, providing over 80 hours of playtime, exploration, and plot twists. The solitaire star system game provides 1 player with a repeatable play experience, commanding 1 Pandora voyage to a single star system. You set the experience level of your crew and the danger level of each voyage. And then there's the 2-player game, which puts players in command of competing away teams from Pandora in a voyage to a single star system with also a repeatable play experience. 40 years ago, John Butterfield designed the Voyage of the BSM Pandora, the groundbreaking solitaire paragraph-driven game for SPI. Now John takes his branching narrative game concept into a new dimension with Away Team, The Voyages of the Pandora. Away team, The Voyages of the Pandora is for 1 or 2 players, ages 14 and up. That's my guess. And right now can be pre-ordered for $61. The eventual MSRP, if this receives enough orders, will be $87. And I have to say, I am plenty excited. This is so cool. Now, someone out there correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the Pandora game part of Ares magazine? Wasn't it one of the games that came with Ares magazine one time from SPI? I could have swore it was. I might be wrong. I could be way off base. But for some reason, I thought that's what it was. But this should be really, really cool. And I got to say, graphically, this looks pretty interesting, especially the board of the, well, you're taking a look at it right now. This is like one of the planet surfaces. Looks really, really cool. It really does. So we've got Kevin R. Smith, Flaming Heron, is with us as well. So we've got 3 of our 4 chat moderators. And I would take a guess Sarah D is probably floating around too. So we probably have all of our chat moderators hanging out. So Kevin is with us. Doug Roberts has popped in. So has Chen from Taiwan. Welcome once again. So we've got a pretty nice chat off and running already. So let's talk about some role-playing game news, because January brings the collector's edition of Zobek, the Clockwork City from Kobold Press. Here's the skinny. Adventure in the Crossroads City. From the lofty towers of the Collegium to the dark and dirty docks to the dangerous underbelly of the city itself, this is Zobek, the thriving, bustling, free city at the crossroads of Midgard. Noted for its clockwork ingenuity and its cutthroat politics, all sorts flock toward the city's opportunities. Merchants and travelers, rulers and refugees. Some stay and some only pass through, but everyone has an angle. Bring the city of Zobek to life in your 5th edition campaign with this 288-page hardcover volume featuring the collection of the best of old Zobek and featuring new maps, new lore, and new adventures. Explore its streets and chase golden dreams through City Hall, Collegium summoning circles, fetid sewers, and beyond. Let's give you the tour. There's details on Zobek's districts and important locales, including the bustling Dock District, the famed Arcane Collegium, the notorious Kobold Ghetto, and the seedy Cartways. Guilds and gangs, scholars and smugglers, and a slew of detailed NPCs to challenge or aid players. There's a new Clockwork Wizard School and new magic items, including the Bag of Traps, Chronomancer's Pocket Clock, and the Red Lady's Scalpel. New player character backgrounds, mounts, and feats, specifically for humans and Gearforged. Plus, 14 adventures in, around, and under the Great Trade City from 1st to 11th level. In fact, it's a complete mini campaign. This expanded collector's edition collects and updates the Zobek Gazetteer, Streets of Zobek, and adds select content from Warlock and Warlock Layers, as well as 30 brand new maps, 2 all new adventures, and much more. The city beckons. Take to the streets and prosper. The 288-page hardcover of Zobek, the Clockwork City Collector's Edition is going to carry an MSRP of $49.99 when it arrives on January 25th. The PDF is going to carry an MSRP of $24.99. Yes, more Kobold Press goodness. I should mention later on this week, check out my review of City of Cats. Yes, this is another gazetteer with adventures as well. And the video is actually shot. It's in the can. It's done. I was tempted to actually post it today, but I try not to double dip videos. So what I mean by that is I try only to share one video a day. So because I notice if I share more than one video, they kind of cannibalize each other's views. I don't get as many views straight. I don't know why. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know. So Flaming Huron asks, so first look in the new year? I don't know. Maybe. All depends if Kobold Press sends this along or not. In fact, to be honest with you, things just show up from Kobold Press. So, like the Book of Ebon Tides, which is another book that's on the horizon with a review. So, a lot of RPG reviews coming soon, folks. And I'll talk about my announcement in case you've missed it after the news. On to the next news piece. Paizo Inc. will be collecting the Fists of the Ruby Phoenix Pathfinder Adventure Path chapters into a single volume in January. I've got the scoop. Prepare for the fight of your life. The Ruby Phoenix tournament gathers the most talented martial artists, mages, and misfits from around the world to compete on a world stage. Grand prize? Winner's choice of a priceless treasure from the vault of Haojin, the Ruby Phoenix herself. This hardcover compilation includes all 3 adventures of the popular Fists of the Ruby Phoenix adventure path in one epic book. Explore a complete adventure for 11th to 20th level characters, plus fantastic gazetteers, inspiring character options, dozens of creatures, and more. Pathfinder 2nd Edition's most ambitious campaign yet bursts from the pages of this massive hardcover compilation, containing all 3 adventures in the fan-favorite Fist of the Ruby Phoenix adventure path, a fist-smashing tournament campaign like no other, along with support articles, rules, monsters, and more. The hardcover is going to arrive in stores on January 25th. It's going to carry an MSRP of $54.99. Yeah. Another collection from Paizo of past Pathfinder adventures. And these aren't from that far back. In fact, I want to say this adventure path came out right when I started kind of getting on board with Paizo. So funny enough, I think I've got 2 of the 3 chapters of this, strangely enough. Like I said, this is right when I started to get on board. So things were a little hit or miss sometimes with the adventure paths. And I did not necessarily get them all like I do now. So I also have to point out, this is all 3 adventures in a hardcover, $54.99. It's actually less than if you had purchased all 3 adventures separately. Isn't that interesting? Yes. Stray Kismet is with us in chat. Sarah D also poked out and said hello. Very cool. Very nice. So Kevin points out, not bad for a collector's edition. No, not at all. My final news piece, now available in PDF from Elven Tower, is Dungeon Vault Magazine issue 28. Here's the dope. This is issue number 28 of Dungeon Vault Magazine, a compilation of adventures, lore, excellent cartography, and useful digital goodies. Dungeon Vault Magazine is all about providing interesting ideas and lore to dungeon masters and storytellers. Within this issue, you'll find varied adventure ideas. These short modules do not stick to a unified template of sections. Instead, they're organically created and follow their own pace. Types of modules you can expect are city and town settings, regional settings, dungeons, outdoor locations, encounter maps, and one-page adventures. The only exception is a 3-chapter adventure named The Fabled Vault, which has been featured at the end of the magazine. The modules are all written with the 5th edition open gaming license in mind, but rules are often left to a minimum. Most adventures are appropriate for low to mid-level, levels 1 to 10, adventuring parties. Also included is a note at the beginning of each adventure with a ballpark estimation of party level and playing time. The 55-page PDF is available over at DriveThruRPG for $5.95. I got to admit, these always look cool. These always look pretty cool. I don't think these are ever available in print, though. I think these are always digital. And one of the cool aspects is that there are also virtual tabletop maps included with each issue as well. So very nice. Pretty cool. So swing on over and pick that up over at DriveThruRPG. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to go visit, say, DriveThruRPG or Dungeon Master's Vault or Storyteller's Vault, whatever. Why do I always say Dungeon Master's Vault? It's Dungeon Master's Guild. So if you're going to go over to like Dungeon Master's Vault or Storyteller's Guild, anyway, if you're going to make your way over to any of those sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up to help keep gaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always stop on over at paypal.me/gaminggang and make a small donation. And just like the madman himself, but it wasn't a small donation. So big thanks to everybody out there who uses the banner ads as well as swinging on over to paypal.me. Thank you very kindly. Also, please keep in mind there are still about 125 used games that are on sale from my collection that I've done reviews of. And you can find that over at thegaminggang.com. If you look to the right, you'll see that got a little used game sale like banner on there. So, yes. So let's see what's going on in chat. Coco B says, never heard of Dungeon Vault magazine. Why I watch the news. Yeah, I tend to share. Well, actually, that is not the first time I've talked about Dungeon Vault magazine. I think that's maybe the 3rd or 4th issue that I've shared a news piece about, but I mean, you know. I don't expect everybody to remember everything. Christopher Rush is with us in chat. Thought I saw somebody else sneak in. There we go. Testy Trekkie is with us also. So, plenty of folks hanging out in chat. Welcome, everybody. Like I said, in the open, happy holidays. So we're going to dive on into Mysteries of the Empire, Volume 1 for Lex Arcana in just a few moments. A few things I did want to mention first. So if you did not catch my announcement video, which is on the channel, hey, if I remember right, it's entitled something like an announcement regarding the future of the Gaming Gang. If you missed it, essentially, I talked about how I am going to shift focus onto role-playing games, which you've already seen me do more often. But I'm probably going to end up doing probably somewhere around 80-20, maybe even 90-10 as far as role-playing games versus board games. Now, one thing I do want to point out, I know there are some wargaming fans out there who are like, wait, what? What? There are still companies I'm going to work with that I've worked with for years and years. So I'm not saying no, I'm not doing any gaming, board gaming coverage. It's I'm not going to actively seek out board games from companies. One of the reasons is because we're just not getting together enough for me to play a game 3 times, because that has always been how we've approached it. Got to play the game 3 times before we do a review. Because I'm telling you right now, there have been many games, first time out the gate, did not play it correctly. And the second time out the gate, didn't play it correctly. And we're sitting there like, wait a second, something's got to be wrong here. And then we found the problem, the rule that we missed, or the rule that we misinterpreted, or something like that. So that's why the policy has always been 3 plays. Well, we don't get together enough to do that. We get together right now. We're lucky if it's once a month, and it's usually not even the whole gang. But those of you out there who are concerned, oh, wait a second, just not going to cover GMT Games anymore, or anything like that? Yes. Yes, I will. I will still be providing coverage for them. Tiny Battle Publishing, Flying Pig Games. You should still expect to see coverage of that, as well as other board game companies that I've worked with in the past. Plus, if somebody reaches out to me from a company I haven't worked with and they're offering something that I think looks cool, and more importantly, I think that the audience yourselves would be interested in, then yes, I will definitely check it out. But once again, I'm not going to actively seek out board games. The other thing is there's just so many people out there who are reviewing board games. Every time I turn around, there's all these people out there. I've like, Fleming Heron says all the board gamers breathe the collective sigh of relief that they're not going to have to put up with my nonsense reviews with board games anymore. No, I'm kidding. I know what you mean, Flaming Heron. So yes, there will be board game coverage. You're still going to see board game news. This is for the foreseeable future for a few different reasons. Like I said, the other thing is there's so many people out there. If you did not catch my announcement, I did a Kickstarter review. And the reason why I did a review is because it was essentially the retail game. It's what was going to hit stores or Shake That City for AEG. And I was told that they sent out review copies to 70 outlets. I was like, what? I was like, it's not some earth-shaking game. It's a good game, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it and, shared my thoughts about it in the review. I think it's a good game, but it's not something revolutionary. 70 outlets? Holy cow. So just too much stuff gets lost in the shuffle. And we know there are people out there covering board games who are fantastic. They are excellent. And then we also know we have the opposite of that as well. So, and I think there's far, far, far too many people out there who get into doing this because they want to make money. Got to be honest. They get into this because they want to make dough. And they'll, and they get backing from financiers and shit like that. So I figure, hey man, if I do my reviews of RPGs, I got so much experience with role-playing games. And I know there are a good number of people out there reviewing role-playing games too. Don't get me wrong. But I have experience in role-playing games that other people have nowhere near. So anyway, so that's basically what the announcement was. Also, I am going to roll out some new series on the channel. I don't want to reveal what they are yet, but they are going to be monthly and they will be role-playing game related. So there is that as well. So lots of cool stuff on the horizon. So I'm not going anywhere. I know I saw some comments from people who are like, "Oh, I saw you had an announcement." I was worried, and it's like, really? But the thumbnail, I have a big smile. Why would you think something bad happened when I'm like, like, it's all good. It's good news. And once again, I've got City of Cats. That review is shot. It's in the can, coming soon. So is my Lex Arcana review. This is a very unique role-playing game. That's all I'm going to tell you. In fact, I know we're looking at a Lex Arcana release tonight, but I don't want to, steal the thunder from the review. But I will tell you, this is a very unique role-playing game. All right. So, as I mentioned, we're going to take a look at Mysteries of the Empire Volume 1 in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
This is Tiger Joe. Gigantic. With walkie-talkie operator, machine gunner. Tiger Joe. Rugged. Powerful. Ready for battle. You command Tiger Joe with remote control. Stop. Back. You breech load Tiger Joe and fire. Battery powered, the biggest tank of all. Tiger Joe, sold at food markets only.
Say, kids, what is it? Up in the sky. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Superman. Yes, sir, kids, a real flying Superman that can be yours. Looks just like Superman himself. He's made of tough blue plastic and has a bright red cape that fits on his shoulders. With your flying Superman, you get a powerful launcher to send him sky high, zooming through space just like Superman does in his adventures. Now, you'll want to be one of the first to have your own flying Superman, so listen carefully, because here's all you do to get yours. Send one box top from Kellogg's Corn Flakes and just 10 cents. That's one box top and just 10 cents to Flying Superman, Box 330, Battle Creek, Michigan. Or use the handy order blank right on the Kellogg's Corn Flakes package. Get your Flying Superman from Kellogg's now.
Anybody who doesn't drink Wilkins coffee ought to be tarred and feathered, right? Wrong! He always was a bad sport.
Merry Christmas, Merry Merry Christmas from your Kmart Christmas store. Save on sweaters and on hats, bowling balls and baseball bats.
Cameras, TVs, bikes and plants, goldfish, fat boy slippers, pants.
Mirrors, dresses, perfume, socks, toasters, roasters, robes and clocks. Candy, records, films and toys at Santa Land for girls and boys. Christmas smiles light every face at Kmart's Christmas saving place.
Yes. So wait a second. Who was out there in chat saying that doesn't look like Superman? I gotta say, it looked more to me like a bat. Man. Oh. Yes, Kevin points out over 1,500 Kmarts across the USA. Yep, those were the days, all right. Kabuki Kid is with us. in chat. Double K's in the house. Good to see you. So yes, some old commercials there. I get a kick out of that tank. For one, those kids were like they were about ready to shit themselves. Oh, the tank's coming for us. It's like, wait a second. You're American soldiers. Well, they're dressed as American soldiers. And I'm like, that's an American tank. Why are you freaking out? Huh? What's going on here, kid? But it's like, oh, look. Go forward. Stop. Reverse. Wow, that's incredible. Kabuki Kid says that toy tank is probably a cool collectible today. I also get a kick out of I've been sharing some toys that like shoot things, which would absolutely not go over anymore. I remember having the Cylon Raiders and the Vipers from Battlestar Galactica, the original series, as toys. And they shot these little, they barely did anything. They shot these little, almost like little torpedoes. And those got recalled ASAP. And then they came out with a new run of them that they were just glued in there. They didn't shoot at all. But we never turned ours in. We had those recalled Battlestar Galactica toys. Yes, I get a kick out of sharing these oddball old commercials as well. And yes, Wontkins lived, tarred and feathered, which, as Kevin pointed out, was fatal in most cases, a lot of cases back in the day. But at least it wasn't for Wontkins. He survives, yet disfigured forever. All right. So, as I mentioned today, I am going to be taking a first look and paging through Lex Arcana, Mysteries of the Empire Volume 1 from Acheron Games. It's got a lot of authors, so I am not going to read through all of those, but artwork is provided by Antonio De Luca, Francesco Medielli, and Giorgio Donato. The 120-page hardcover is available now. Carries an MSRP of $34.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $14.99. I'm pretty sure with the Lex Arcana releases, if you buy the physical book from Acheron, you get the PDF free. I'm pretty sure. All right. That said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Mysteries of the Empire Volume 1. So I know some of you are probably out there thinking, wait a second, Jeff. You were telling us that we were going to take a look at Lex Arcana, Dacia and Thracia. How come we're looking at Mysteries of the Empire Volume 1? And the reason is because this actually is what came out after the core book. So I thought Dacia and Thracia was the next release. It wasn't. This is. So I kind of wanted to stay sort of, the release schedule, right? So let's take a look at the back here. Mysteries of the Empire Volume 1. Lex Arcana is a historical fantasy role-playing. That's that phrased correctly. Lex Arcana is a historical fantasy role-playing game in a Roman Empire that never fell. This volume is a collection of all the adventures realized during the launch campaign for Lex Arcana 2nd Edition. Wide range of dangerous tasks, epic deeds, and world-shaking missions, perfectly suited for both one-shots or as part of something larger. From the western beaches of Hispania to the eastern borders of Thracia, the Custodes will travel not only the length and breadth of the Empire, but also the different styles and endless creativity of some of the best authors of the world gather for the first time under the banner of Roma Vitrix. That tells us what the adventures are. And we're going to find out for ourselves, taking a look inside. Should point out the fine folks over at Acheron Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's important that you know that. As you can see, I'll be staying picture in picture up here, as I normally do. That means I'll be cutting off a little bit of the upper left portion of the book as we're taking a peek. We're not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to get a good feel for what's in this. This is the first time I've cracked this open, so this is all brand new to me. So it's probably brand new to a lot of you out there as well. Lastly, this is an adventure book. So there's going to be some spoilers because we're going to be looking at stuff in this book. So if you are a player hoping to play these adventures for Lex Arcana, I would definitely recommend that we see you tomorrow. Because as much as I'm going to stay away from spoiling anything because I haven't read any of this, we're going to see images of things. We're going to run across stuff that's going to kind of spoil the surprise. Also, I will kind of see if we've got a bit of like a synopsis, which we see here for each of the adventures. So Beyond the Limes is this adventure here. The Custodes are summoned to the provincial castra of Augusta Trevinorum, provincial capital of Germania, to receive their new mission. Without many preambles, Commander worriedly explains the situation and the purpose of their mission. After the detailed report, the characters are warned to take utmost caution during their stay with the Angles. Anti-Roman sentiment is growing with every passing day, and provocation by a number of Angles is inevitable. Moreover, they are instructed to gain information about the ambassador of the Huns and his people, acting with the utmost discretion. So if you're not overly familiar with Lex Arcana, the players are part of a team. It's almost like a Roman era X-Files where they seek out magic and monsters and things like that. So looks like we have our synopsis here of the adventure. Something else I should point out is if you're not familiar with Lex Arcana, it is a scene-based role-playing game, which is kind of a thing that we see a lot of these days, where it's scene to scene. It's point A to point B, point C. Not always just strictly linear. Although I have to admit, the two adventures in the core book are pretty linear, and I talk about that a little bit. I've got some other thoughts about the adventures that are in the core book, but just kind of give you an idea, it is not sandboxy or anything like that. So, which reality is, we see this a lot in role-playing games now. So, and it's okay. I mean, if you think about it, having myself run Call of Cthulhu for decades, Call of Cthulhu adventures are pretty linear as well. But one thing that they normally will have is, okay, so if the characters fail, this is what happens here. If they fail at this is what happens. A lot of times with adventures such as the ones I saw in the core rulebook or like 5e and things like that, it's just assumed that the characters succeed, which is kind of strange. Madman says the company they work for used to have a presence inside some of the Kmart stores, and Madman provided some reporting related to it. That presence in the stores is long gone. Madman worked for one of those photography places. I'm kidding. I once had somebody try to finagle me into doing that. I was like, get the hell out of here. And in case you don't know, when I got out of school, I was in retail management for about, oh gosh, about a dozen years or so. I certainly don't miss that, especially this time of year. All right, so what do we got here? This was Stone of the Retaining. It's late autumn, and the custos are at Augusta Terrenium, DCS Nepos. Yeah, I know I'm mispronouncing all this stuff. An official of the Cohors Auxilia Arcana heads towards them with parchment in hand. He's walking slowly on the icy street in the morning cold. You've been selected for a mission we deem to be of utmost importance for the Empire. Several dispatches have indicated the presence of a sacred or magic stone in a village of southern Gallia called Rudamagus, an object that apparently has curious powers of extraordinary and perilous vastness. Our job is to investigate the existence of this object and its properties and eventually gain possession of it. Cool. So as I had started to say earlier, this is a very unique role-playing game. And it's a fantasy role-playing game set in a Roman Empire that did not fall. So it's the 5th century AD. And the Roman Empire is still thriving. And magic exists. And one of the reasons why the Roman Empire has continued to survive is because the Romans deal with divination, magic. So there is magic in this, but it's not D&D magic, right? It's not high fantasy magic. In fact, the vast majority of Romans don't even know about magic. So I thought that itself was pretty interesting. It's got a kind of a strange character creation aspect to it as well. Definitely later on this week, when I share my review of the Lex Arcana core book, check it out, because I think some people will absolutely adore this role-playing game, but it is certainly not for everyone. So this is Beacon of Hope. The gods of Rome are sending omens and bad premonitions to the seers of Hispania. They're offended by the pride of mortals and concerned because the boundaries between life and death are fading. Led by these visions, the local members of the Cohors Arcana did a first check on these places and found a series of reported missing. Wouldn't it be missing reported in the last year? Got to remember, this is originally in Italian. So some maybe a little localization tweak here. A dozen people just disappeared in that period near Villa Aquilari, north of Tarraco, without a trace. Strangers, slaves, rejects. These revelations are happening at the worst possible time as Tarraco is preparing for its annual fair. If more disappearances were to occur, the panic can seriously impact the economy of one of the key regions of the empire. Eventually, you, the custodes, will have been sent to Tarraco and Villa Aquari to investigate. Got to point out, a lot of grammatical errors in that, missing words. So that tain't good, Dooley. But these adventures seem to be a decent length. We have from Vesper till Aurora. The news coming from Baetica is quite disturbing. The prefect of Gades has reported mysterious events and horrific crimes perpetrated in the oceanfront port, and the Haraspis speak of a tremendous darkness spreading like a plague below the city. As soon as these voices reach the command of the Cohors Arcana, a contuberum of custodes are sent to investigate. In particular, Given the great threat perceived by these events, they are assigned a special missive, the Theta Negrum Directive, which provides them with unrivaled martial power should they need it. Well, well, well. The journey is short, and the Custodes reached the city gates just a few days after the disturbing news reports were received. But in the meantime, the situation has deteriorated. Some discussion about Toys R Us. There used to be a chain of stores. Now, they closed when I was in high school, if I remember right. KB Toys. And KB Toys was famous for having discounted Avalon Hill games. I remember we used to be able to pick up some Avalon Hill games and some of the Avalon Hill role-playing games that had come out for like $5. So it was pretty strange. They had some board games from the boutique board game companies, not, Parker Brothers and things like that. And it was funny. We used to go through their clearance stuff all the time and pick up Avalon Hill stuff. I think, if I remember right, one of my friends actually got Circus Maximus for like $4.99. So there's some discussion about some places that still have Toys R Us. And Kabuki Kid points out Toys R Us is located inside of Macy's. Yeah, I had heard that as well. Is FAO Schwartz still around? I remember that used to be a big deal, and I almost never hear anything about FAO Schwartz. All right, we have the Nymph and the Senator. It is the 27th April, 5 days before the Kalends of May. The flamen of Jupiter Lucius Cornelius Nobiliori, one of the highest religious authorities of the empire and the image of God on earth, summons the Custodes to the Capitolinus Hill in Rome. In the late morning, they must make their way to his private office at the Temple of Jupiter Capitolinus, the most important in the empire, the most ancient in Rome, and by far the most revered, built by the Etruscan kings in an era when history was merged with legend. Trying to see what is the mission. Looks like the player characters are going to investigate some strange portents, some various signs. Well, we know there's a nymph in it because it's not only telling us the myth of the nymph, the title of the adventure is The Nymph and the Senator. The Flames of Pompeii. I should say on August 22nd, 832, the Custodes stationed in Rome received an official dispatch reporting news of strange tremors in the hilly area of Neapolis. These events don't seem entirely natural and are happening at a disturbing rate, especially in the area near Pompeii. So this would be in the 9th century that's taking place. I could have swore, maybe it's the 5th century is when the arcana are formed. Maybe that was it. So it looks like the player characters are going to go be present at the destruction of Pompeii. Then we have Eye of the Cyclops. Looks like we've got some cultists in here. Kevin says, looks like FAA Schwartz still has 6 stores, but its longtime flagship store on 5th Avenue is no more. That's what I was thinking of, the store that was in New York. I passed it by one time. I've not been to New York that many times, but I remember I was down on Fifth Avenue and I was like, oh my God, this place is massive. I didn't go in, but I was like, holy cow. So I had the Cyclops, Justice Fulcinius, a respected member of the Imperial Senate, has asked the Cohors Arcana authorities to send you, the Custodes, the Katana, in Sicilia to investigate a troubling matter reported in a letter from Marcus Callinus, head of a family in the high Roman aristocracy. So just trying to take a peek. Okay, so here's the letter. Justice Fulcinius, dearest friend to my late father, I trust you are in good health. Several weeks ago, my young son, Quintus, went missing, snatched from his slumber in the fullness of the night. The perpetrators of this heinous crime never demanded ransom. After 4 days, no thanks to local authorities, Quintus appeared at my door, blind and traumatized by a terrible vision of the future. His own death in a world where monsters have laid waste to our great empire. Well, so there you go. That's what the player characters are going to be investigating. Like this is a fairly long adventure there. The Sons of Caligula. Marcus Julius Maximus, a respected member of the Roman aristocracy, asks for an official mission of the Cohors Arcana. After being selected, the Custodes are sent by their commander to a midnight meeting at Maximus's villa. The official explains he is a senior member of a powerful secret society that most have only heard vague whispers about, often supporting the cohors. Duh. That night, under the cover of darkness, he explains to them that in the Hellespont, an evil conspiracy has been brewing for decades. That Sons of Caligula cultists may have found the location of the lost scepter of Atlas, thought lost under the ochre waves of the Pontus Ixinus Black Sea, in the famous sunken city of Atlantis. Well, the House of Wine. Oh, Gareth Hanrahan. The Cohors Arcana receive a report about complaints from several of the neighbors of Aulus Pinarius Riburus, a citizen of Thebai, as Thebes is known in Greece, and the province Achaia. Achaia? I don't know. I don't know. See, that's one of the issues too with this game is that there's so much like Latin and things like that. It kind of throws players off. All right. So the report alleges that the banquets at the house of Pinarius are getting out of hand, that they go on all night and disturb the peace, and that strangely, it's impossible to enter the house or its surrounding gardens by night. The letter describes how the Vinrows become a labyrinth by moonlight, and that some servants who were sent to complain were attacked by wild beasts. Okay. To live and die in Byzantium. So it says it is. Wow, actually, this layout's different than the other adventures. Okay, so the adventure is set in Byzantium. Another hot June night is passed in Byzantium. The Contubernum was awoken before dawn by a messenger of Quintus Appius Numitor, counselor to the magister of the Curus. What the hell is that? Legatorius? Valens, both of whom are characters well known to the Custodes. The issue appears to be urgent. Custodes hurriedly make their way to the Golden Horn, to these enormous ports. All right, so what is their adventure here? It's like a trio of important men have been murdered. And the characters need to solve the crime. It looks like this is a fairly long adventure. This might be the last of the adventures here. Actually, it is quite long. All right. So there you have it. This is Mysteries of the Empire, Volume 1 for Lex Arcana from Acheron Games. And of course, I will have a review of Mysteries of the Empire, Volume 1 in the near future. And don't forget, later this week, tune in, check out my video review for the core rulebook of Lex Arcana. So your kid says, murder. So Kevin says, didn't catch if he's using a hyphen in place of the dot or if he's just eliminating all punctuation. So Chen points out that this book looks very interesting. It does, but I'll tell you what, just from looking through it, just paging through it, a lot of grammatical errors. That's one of the things that was kind of throwing me off reading some of the stuff is I'm reading and it's like, wait a second, that sentence is missing B or the or a. Some of them, the word was repeated twice. One of the sentences said something about more of something, and it's like more of something. I was like, what? Like, wait, what? So that is too bad when those kind of errors make their way into a hard copy of a game. So hopefully it's not too bad. I'm pretty forgiving for those kind of things, unless it's, massive issues. But we will see. So yes, we'll have a review of this in the very near future. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera. So don't forget, I also have my review of City of Cats for 5e. It's done. It's in the can. So is actually the Lex Arcana core book review. So they will be up later on. Madman says the grammatical errors would drive him crazy. I'm like that myself. So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see. But one of the things with Lex Arcana itself is because of all the Latin and granted, I'm not Italian. I have no experience with Latin. I know quite a bit ancient history wise, but not, all the pronunciation of different things like that. I think that's going to be kind of a stumbling block for some gamers. So definitely check out the review for Lex Arcana later on this week. As I mentioned, I think some people will absolutely love it, but it is certainly not for everyone. Kevin says they suspect the grammar will vary a lot in the book since it looks like some of the adventures were written by native English speakers. Yeah, the one from Gareth Hanrahan, when I was looking, like doing the little bit of a introduction and that didn't look like there was any problem there. So Madman says growing up, their mom was a stickler for using proper English. They're certainly not perfect, but they find themselves correcting his wife and kids. I'm one of these people, and I know I'm just a stickler. And I've had some people call me a grammar Nazi. But if somebody is writing something on, let's say, Facebook, and they're sharing something on Facebook, and they do not know the difference between there, and there, that drives me nuts. And it's like, I cannot take someone seriously if they don't know the difference between those three words. And I get it. Some people are like, oh, well, I'm just talking into my phone. I'm doing speech to text. I'm like, yeah, great. Fix it. Don't look like an idiot. So it's like, sometimes if I tweet something so real quick and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't spell that right, I'll usually delete the tweet and retweet it. So Kabuki Kid says, oh man, my mom's boyfriend constantly goofs those up. Drives me nuts. Yeah, I know. I don't know. All right. So yes, Doug's correct. 2, 2, and 2 as another one. Another one that drives you nuts. So it's like, yeah, okay. Or like wait and wait. It's like, wait a second. How did you not get that right? So, all right. Anyway, on tomorrow's show, we're going to dive on into The Odd. So it's actually Into the Odd from Free League Publishing. This is the new revised edition. It's the latest edition that just came out. So I've always heard good things about Into the Odd, and we are going to get to take a peek inside. Got plenty of goodies for next week too. I'll talk about those on tomorrow's show. All right. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Dungeons & Dragons Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen from Wizards of the Coast. You can find out what I think of this. And if you're watching live, thank you very much. Of course, if you took part in chat, an even bigger thank you, because you not only get to keep me company, but keep each other company as well. For when I'm stumbling over, synopsises of adventures in books with bad grammar, making it harder and much more stumbly. But of course, I know a lot of people out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. All right, everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming. Your gang.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, that's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.